everybody. My name is Karthik, and I'm with UZ Marketing, and this is a first ever YouTube video podcast series. This whole series is basically dedicated to bringing value to the community, to the business community, to entrepreneurs in a way that shares experience of people who have been in their business, have experience starting a business, maintaining a business, and having some pitfalls and challenges in order to overcome them and improve their business. So we decided to start this little video series, like I said, to provide value and share with people in the United States and the world, really, how to overcome certain challenges and tips, tricks, different strategies for all kinds of things in business. Today, I have the wonderful opportunity to introduce DeShaun. He's with the company called the Kings Courtyard LLC. And you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, how you started the business, and give us the intro.
Okay. First of all, thanks for the opportunity for the interview and all. And as you said, my name is DeShaun Adams, and started my company pretty much right after high school, and got the idea that I wanted to run my own business pretty early on, and my parents encouraged it. And I actually was driving down the highway one day, and I was praying and asking God for a name for my business, and He gave me the Kings Courtyard Lawn Care Service, and that's how I came up with the name. And so ever since then, I've been mowing grass. So, and here we are here.
Awesome. You started doing that at 18 years old, so you're a veteran.
Yeah.
Veteran in the industry. Can you tell me a little bit about how long you've had your business and like the background of like how you actually started that business?
Yeah. So, as I stated, my mom and my dad encouraged me a lot to, to start our own businesses. And when I was younger, I used to have to help mow the yard at the church properties. And as I got older, I was thinking, well, if I'm going to be cutting grass and getting dirty on Saturdays, I might as well, cut a few extra properties and make some money out of it. And it's kind of pretty much how the idea came in my mind, that I could take something as simple as cutting grass and turn it into a business.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think the thing that separates a lot of the entrepreneurs from people who are not entrepreneurs is the ability to think how to monetize anything that you do in your daily life. Like, you're doing it anyway, you're becoming good, you're good at cutting grass, so how do you make money from that? So that's kind of awesome that it inspired you, and I think it's pretty cool too that you have a divinely inspired background from the business name. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I believe you have some experience with getting some customers through the name, right?
Oh yeah. A lot of people see my trailer, because I have my trailer and my shirts and even my hats have it all labeled, and they'll ask me, they'll say, is that like a religious thing? That gives me opportunity to open up about that and my business, and how the name came to be. So, and a lot of people have seen the name and they just know, and they'll say, I want you to cut my grass. I want you on my property, so
Yeah.
it's definitely has helped.
That's cool. So that reminds me, kind of like the image. Image is really important for a business. I think you learned that a long time ago. We're starting to learn that as well. Can you tell me a little bit about how you think maintaining an image, or how you are perceived to customers or to other businesses, how that affects your business?
Yeah. So like when you're going out and you're doing a job for somebody, like when you see like bigger companies, and it really doesn't even matter who, but when you see their logo and you can recognize their logo, say for instance like Food Line, you see the Food Line symbol, that's Food Line, and you want something that people can remember you by. And that's kind of where the image comes in, where you see people, like you go to Foot Locker, you see them with the shirts on, the referee shirts on and all that. Well, that's somebody that cares about their business, because they took time to invest in their business. And it's the same way with people with small businesses or larger businesses, if you want people to pay attention to your business and want them to know that you care about your business and you're not just somebody that's just coming through and, might be going here today, going tomorrow, then, you know, I think image is important. That's why when I'm out and my guys are out, we're wearing the shirts, we're wearing the hats, we're in and out the trailer. They know who I am because, you know, I'm pretty much wearing my business. I'm wearing my label, I'm wearing my logo. So they know who I am. And if they ever want to come up and talk to me, they can talk to me because they know who I am. They don't confuse me with somebody else, just walking through the yard because they know who I am. I'm labeled. So I think image is very important. It makes it make you look professional out in the field that you're in. No matter what that field is, it makes you look professional and it makes you look like you know what you're doing. And it just it's a sense of pride too, to look back and say, that's my business. Or even like, you can look at some businesses and you can tell that they care about what they're doing by the image that they present. And I think that's the goal that I want to ultimately have, is that people can look at me and say, that guy cares about his business.
Very interesting points. Actually, you bring up that interesting point about how you're perceived by your customers and how people actually take you seriously because you have that professional look, like you're representing a company and not just somebody who might be somebody's cousin mowing their yard for the weekend or something. People don't know. But as you brought it up, it reminds me, we have been in this business probably 8-9 years, what we're doing, and we've been printing for the last 5. So before that, we were offering different services. But just recently, we started upgrading the way that we perceive or how we have our customers perceive us. We changed up the uniform, so now everybody wears branded UZ marketing attire. And in addition to that, we try to keep it business casual, not really too professional, but it's because a lot of us that work here are really young. We want people to take us seriously. We don't want to look like just a bunch of kids who don't know what we're doing. So that's
right.
And that's something we didn't realize until recently. It's a learning thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that in my business, I look at I should say my area, I look at a lot of guys that they might have a mower in the back of the truck, or they might have a truck and a trailer, a covered trailer, and they don't have any marketing on it, and they don't have any label on it. So you don't know if, they're just, maybe cutting their mom's yard and then coming home, or you don't know if they have a business. If they have a covered trailer, you don't know if they mow or not because there's nothing on the outside that says, hey, I mow grass, or hey, I paint, or hey, I do home improvement, Nobody knows what's in the trailer and nobody can see you. And even if you pull up in somebody's yard and cut their yard, and even if you do the best work that you can do, nobody knows who you are. They don't know how to get in contact with you. And that's the whole point of marketing, I think, is that you want those potential customers to call you. You want them to know who you are, and you want to get their attention. And to me, that's the most important part of marketing, is to get that customer's or the potential customer's attention.
Yeah, I think whoever has a trailer that's not really covered, man, I think it's a missed opportunity to really let people know and be stuck in traffic and have your name out there on the vehicle. Do you have any type of that? Any signage or anything on your vehicles?
I don't have signage on my vehicle yet. I am thinking about getting it wrapped, but I haven't decided yet. The reason why is because I'm thinking about getting another truck, a bigger truck, and if I do wind up getting a bigger truck, I'll probably wrap that instead of in my regular everyday trucks.
Yeah, for sure. Those are a big investment. We got a couple of our vehicles wrapped. They're pretty hefty investments. So if you're thinking of getting another vehicle, you probably best save it for that. But when it comes to branding, I'll tell a story about how we got into the sign business. Started printing signs. There was a customer who found out that we print yard signs, and they came to us and they mentioned in passing, they were like, man, I tried to find the name of the company that printed this for the life of me. I couldn't find it, so I just came to you guys. We figured that's a really missed opportunity on our competitor's part. We're not sure who it was, but they didn't put any type of branding on the box. They didn't put a sticker on it or anything. So for a while, we started experimenting with different ways that we can label the box with our branding, but not be too ridiculous
Mhm.
because we do service resellers too. So
Yeah.
we tried to find a sweet medium, but there's an opportunity right there. Like imagine someone having a box in their house. Maybe they go through 100 signs in 2 years. 2 years later, they might forget where
Mhm.
they got it from. Oh, but the shipping label has it.
Right.
So there
Nice.
opportunity right there and things like that. So you bring up a good point. When it comes to, and I know you mentioned a little bit about maybe it was hypothetical where a different company didn't have branding on their trailer or something. But if
Mhm.
there were other companies in your area, how do you set yourself apart from other landscaping businesses? What makes you and the King's Courtyard special to you and your customers?
I think for one that branding is one of the key things because, like I said before, customers don't want like just somebody, just anybody in their yard looking any kind of way. But I also notice like uh, with the trailers and all of that, they don't have it labeled. They don't have shirts on, and then a lot of people in our area, they don't take the time to do quality
Hmm.
work. Um, what does that mean? Either they cut the grass and they don't make sure that all the clippings are up, or they don't edge. They might not blow off the driveway or the sidewalk or whatever. And it's those key things like that that makes the yard look really good. So, and that's going to be your selling points because if you have a neighbor um, that's maybe looking at getting somebody to mow their yard, and they say, well, this guy comes here every week or every 2 weeks, I can just get him to do it. They're going to pay attention to your work. They're going to pay attention to the quality of the work. And if you don't edge, well, they might want their property
Yeah.
edged. And even with my package, like I've had customers that say, "Oh, you don't have to edge my driveway," and I let them know up front. I say, "This is part of what you're paying for. Like, I don't cut and not edge.
Hmm.
I mean, it's kind of like getting a haircut and not trimming up your hair, you know." So that's kind of what sets me apart because I go the extra mile
Hmm.
to make sure my customers' properties look good when I
Hmm.
leave. That way that they can be satisfied and hopefully I can gain some more customers from it.
That's a really, really, really neat point that you bring up. So in my opinion, in my experience, doing my own lawn and maybe even helping people's lawns. Uh, One
Yep.
second, I think the video cut out. So you bring up a good point about maybe a company who doesn't really edge or doesn't really do the full gamut or things that would be required in a part of the landscaping thing. Like in my experience, mowing my own lawn, my experience doing this for maybe friends or something, edging is just a part of the package. Like I mean, when you go to mow your lawn, to me, I go mow my lawn and I edge it. That's just part of the package. So it's really interesting you say
Yeah.
there are some people out there who don't edge. Maybe they're doing like
Oh yeah.
a bare bones package for their customers. Maybe they say, "Hey, I'll mow your lawn, and you can edge it, or somebody else can edge it." And yeah, it's like different packages that may be possible. But you're saying in your instance, you don't want your customers or any potential customers to even see you in a uniform having the Kings Courtyard LLC. Uh, your name out there and somebody else see and assume that you may not do edging, right?
Right. Right. Because like when I make an agreement with one of my customers, like they don't know the potential customer don't know the agreement that we made, so they just assume that that's something that I don't
Mm-hmm.
do. And I've had a lot of customers come up to me. They're customers of mine now, and they come up to me and ask me, "Do you edge?"
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Yeah, that's part of one of the things that I do." And I give them a breakdown of everything that I'll do for this
Mm-hmm.
price, and edging is always included. So every time we go step on a customer's property, we
Mm-hmm.
edge.
Awesome. That's so it's part of the package. It's part of the King's Courtyard LLC. It's part of what the customer should come to expect and know from your business, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool. So can you tell a little bit about your customers? Who's your target demographic, and how do you provide value to them in maybe unique ways?
Um, so right now, um, well, in the past, my target customer was more so like the elderly
Mm-hmm.
and single mothers, stuff like that. But now, like especially this past year, my business has grown um, to get almost everybody now. So I got some married couples where
Mm-hmm.
the husband doesn't want to cut the yard anymore, or doesn't want to cut the yard at all, or maybe they have allergies. I don't know, but I'm getting the younger
Mm-hmm.
groups, the older groups. I'm catching some small businesses even that have seen me out mowing, and they're interested in me, and so it's kind of grown from previous years,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially especially since I've started marketing my business more with door hangers and shirts and
Mm-hmm.
stickers and everything that I do. Everything that I do notices somebody notices it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's like I said, you got to get the attention of people. You might have a trailer, you might have a truck, but until you actually label that trailer or that truck, people don't know what you
Mm-hmm.
do. So it kind of goes back to
Mm-hmm.
marketing. How do you market, and what methods do you use to market? So
Interesting. So that's our industry.
yeah,
We are
exactly.
a marketing company. I love hearing you say that because at the end of the day, everybody that we service, uh, they can only get value from us, and they can only get value from our products if they're bringing in
Mhm.
business, and that business needs to
Right.
come in through various forms of marketing, whether it's print marketing or digital marketing or anything out there. So when it comes to marketing, can you give me some of your experience on what you've done that's successful and maybe some stuff that's not successful?
Yeah. So um, to me, uh, to not be successful is to like not do anything, just to sit at home and like want people to call you, and maybe you put an ad out on Craigslist, or maybe you put an ad out on Facebook. And Facebook is a good place to market too, but maybe you put some stuff out and you don't do anything else, and maybe you get 30 calls from
Mm-hmm.
that. That's
Oh.
great, but you could be doing more by because me, if I see something, if I can get something in my hand and I can see the services that you provide, and I'm interested in that
Mm-hmm.
service, um, I'm going to be trying to call you and find out more about your business, or trying to find out if you can when you can come and start. Um, Everybody's not on Facebook.
Right.
Everybody's not on Craigslist. Looking for somebody to cut the
Mm-hmm.
yard. And in my experience, I've been on Craigslist, and you really don't get the type of customers that you want on Craigslist, to be honest. Um, but what I do now is I put door hangers out in subdivisions that I want to be in, and I go door to door to the customers, or customers that I want to
Mm-hmm.
get, or to make customers. Um, I might not put a hanger on every door because I don't want every
Okay.
yard. Um, I know the ideal yard that I want, and if you got like a bunch of like stuff in your yard, then I'll probably skip over it. But the ideal yard, is just basically, I can go in, do what I
Mm-hmm.
do, and leave in a timely manner. And it's been working out for me because I've been able to put the door hangers in the subdivisions that I
Mm-hmm.
want and get calls from each subdivision. So um, another thing that I'll say about the door hangers is I also put a price on it.
Oh.
So when the customers, when I put the door hanger out, the customers already know what the price is, and they know what my services is because it's on the door hanger.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I get a call from them, I already know that I have that customer. So um, and we might have to work out a few details, but other than that, I already know I have the customer because why else would they call
Right.
me? So, like I said, it all depends on, and I'm hearing a couple of guys say that I live here and I live there and door hangers don't
Hmm.
work, but it's about how much you're willing to put into it. I usually order like I think you guys do like a 12, no, it's 1,000 door
Mm-hmm.
hangers. I usually order the 1,000 door hangers, and I try to put about 500 out a
Mm-hmm.
year. And even from there, like I've been getting phone calls like crazy from the door hangers. Like even mid season, like people will hang on to my door hanger, and they'll call me like mid season. Like I was getting calls up until the end of the season this
Mm-hmm.
year. So that's crazy
Wow.
because I used I used to didn't get all of this
Right.
attention because I didn't do any marketing. I just sat at home and hope people would call me.
Mm-hmm.
But now. I got a target area. I know where I want to be at. I know who yards I want to cut. I know how much time it's going to take me to cut those yards. So, yeah, that's where I'm at now.
That's incredible. You have so much information and experience to share on that front. So door hangers, I'm with you on the same page. Door hangers have to have the pertinent information for the prospective customer. I believe
Right.
you have this philosophy. If a customer has to call to find pricing, it's putting one barrier to them, and they could potentially not call you back. But
Right.
if the price is already laid out, you answered preemptively one of their questions by having the price on there. So when they call you, it's almost 100% I want your service type deal.
Right.
So
Right.
I've also heard from other professionals, not necessarily landscaping, but like pressure washing, roofing, that they believe that door hangers don't work. To me,
Yeah.
that's crazy because like people like you're telling me your story about how 500 door hangers a year can bring you so much business. So I'm hearing things like that, but then there are people who are saying they don't work. So I think there's a missing element there. There are some things that
Yeah.
you have to know for door hangers, that you have to have things like the pricing. Pricing has to be on there.
Right.
Your services has to be on there. If it's too generic and too broad and doesn't really have a call to action, that's where the investment is not it's not as good as it could be. But if you have all the questions that the customer may ask you, you already have it addressed on the door hanger. Like for instance, landscaping. You have the multiple different packages that you offer, the prices you offer, the days and times that you're available, and times and days that they can reach you or contact you, and different ways to communicate with you too. Like having all those things available on two sides of a door hanger, I think you could probably make that happen, and you do make that happen. Other people can take that information and learn from that too. So sometimes less is more though. Having too much on a door hanger can be overwhelming. I've seen door hangers just so full of information, and we have maybe like 5 seconds to get the customer or the person looking at it to really catch their attention. If it's so much information and so dense, they're not really getting the value from it, so then it just becomes trash, you know?
Yep. I was just about to say that because I can't tell you how many times that I've seen like a painter or a construction worker who has their business on the side of the truck, and it's so colorful and it's got so much stuff just splashed onto the side of the truck, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
But like I look at it and I say, man, you know, I don't like in passing by, I can't read any of it. It's just too much there. And like even like with my door hangers, I have my logo on there. I have a nice picture of a neatly cut yard, and then underneath it I have my services, and then I have a space for price, and then I have my phone number at the bottom. And it's just everything is kind of like I don't want to say symmetrical, but everything is just right there where you can see it. And even for my my lawn care trailer, like I have my logo on the side of it, and I have my number, and that's it. I mean, you know, and they know what I do. I mean, and I've had people take a quick picture of my trailer, and you know, if they're at a stop sign, they can do that. You know, if they're behind me, they can do that. Or they can remember my name, and they can look me up on Google. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've also experienced it many times. I see it all the time, and I try to flag it whenever I see an order where a person, they may upload a picture of their business card in place of a yard sign. They're placing a yard sign. They don't have a yard sign file, so they upload their business card, not really knowing that the way that you use a business card is so different than the way you use a yard sign. A business card is held in your hands, so the person is looking at it, and the ratio of information needs to be a little different. Yard sign, you just said it, like yard signs and magnetic vehicle signs, you have such a short time to get their attention. If they can't figure out what you do by just glancing at it, then it's a loss right there. You don't get that customer.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right, because like yard signs, I've seen several different businesses in yard signs, and you know, a lot of them some of them don't have enough information, and then some of them have too much information. And you know, I try to stray away from doing too many things anyway under one umbrella, because you know, in my opinion, customers might not want a jack of all trades that can do everything. They're looking for something specific, and they want you to be good in that one thing that they're looking for. Now, even with me, I don't tell my customers everything that I do in lawn
Mm-hmm.
care up front. But as I'm working with that customer, I'll say, hey, and I'm using this as an example. I do advertise my bush trimming
Mm-hmm.
services. But say for instance, if I'm just lawn care, just cut your grass, and you got bushes. Well, about mid summer or somewhere, maybe closer to fall, I might mention, hey, your bushes needs to be trimmed. I also provide that service if you want me to do a next visit. And a lot of times I get a lot of side business just from doing that because I trim bushes, I do
Mm-hmm.
gutters. Um, I don't pressure wash because I just don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But like I do small
Mm-hmm.
landscaping and lighting and stuff like that. So if a customer wants that service, then I can also provide that to them as well. So yeah, I think like you said, sometimes less is more. And the main thing that you want to do is to be able to, like for me, is to be able to get on their yard and mow their
Mm-hmm.
property. And once I do that, I made pretty much make a believer out of
Mm-hmm.
them, and they believe in my company and they support my company by, having me back, every 2 weeks, every week, whatever the case is. So yeah.
Sounds like you got a sales funnel going on there. So you get them in with the bread and butter, which is the mowing. That's
Yep.
mowing, edging, that stuff. So you get them in from that
Yep.
for that. But then all these other things that they're going to need, for sure, they're definitely going to need. You kind of build
Yes.
that into your sales funnel. So the time to cut the bushes comes. Hey, you want me to take care of it for you? I'm already here. I can do it for a quick buck. If I
Yeah.
can do it, I'm good at it. So you already got that
Mhm.
customer, and they need your service
Right.
already. So instead of
Right.
like bombarding them with all those services right up the bat, it's like
There you go.
it's what's called trickle down marketing. So eventually,
Hmm.
at the end, when it comes time to it, you're already got that qualified lead. They're ready to buy that product. So
Right.
it.
And a lot of people, like a lot of my customers are like, I was going to ask you about that
Mm-hmm.
service, but I didn't know if you did it and I didn't know you provided. And that's kind of like where, like, say for instance, like maybe all year I've noticed, that they got trees. And at the end of the year, when the fall comes, and all the leaves start falling, and then I said, hey, I also provide leaf cleanups. And, you know, you let me know if you want me to come by and clean up your yard. And most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, I'm able to get that service as
Mm-hmm.
well. And that's something that I've actually just kind of gotten more into this year than I have last year. But I've also marketed it more into leaf cleanups. Like on the door hangers, on one side is like spring and
Mm-hmm.
summer, and the other side is like fall. And so I have that service where I aerate and seed and fertilize and all that kind of stuff like that. So, um, and I think that's another good point because like on the front side of mine, it has all my spring and summer services. Other side it has the fall services, and they're not looking at both sides at the same time. They're just looking at one side. So if they need whatever service they need for that season, they're just looking at that. And then when fall comes, they flip it over, and whatever service they need, only fall is showing. So um, I thought that would be a good marketing tool going forward with the newer door hangers that I just got this year for next season. So yeah, pretty excited about them.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's really cool. So
Yeah.
when it comes to business, I mean, surely you've had your
Mhm.
set of challenges. You've probably
Oh yeah.
you obviously overcame them because you're still in business today. Can you tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
how some of the challenges, maybe not in detail, but like kind of the lessons that you learned from those challenges and how to overcome challenges in
Yeah.
general?
So um, some of the challenges that well anybody that's in business is going to be like breakdowns and when you don't have your equipment is not working right and you just have one of those days where it seems like everything's going wrong. Maybe the guy that you hired is damaged somebody's property and so some of the challenges like that for me, um, taking a step forward, I'm trying to make sure I screen people, make sure they know how to use the equipment, make sure they're being instructed on what I'm expecting them to do, and also because I think the last time we talked, I think I told you that like help is hard to find,
Mm-hmm.
man, in the lawn care industry because some people, they look at, you know, I need to make this amount of
Mm-hmm.
money, whereas, you know, they can go inside to a 9 to 5 and make, you know, a little bit less, but at least they're inside, you know. And to me, that's also another challenge because you're all with, from my experience, you have a revolving door of help. Nobody really wants to be permitted and help you out, you know, constantly. And it doesn't really matter how much you pay them, because if you pay them $100 an hour, they're still going to want
Mm-hmm.
more money. If you pay them, you know, decent money, they're still going to want more money. So um, I just I try to overcome my challenges by finding out some other things. Like um, with my guys, what I'll do is after we agree on the price, I might buy them lunch for the day,
Mm-hmm.
or I might try to have like little incentives, like where one of my guys, I was telling them, I said, if you get done before I do, and you know that's everything, you know, then I'll give you extra $5 per
Mm-hmm.
yard that you get done. And you know that was kind of like a, okay, it's a challenge now, you know, kind of a fun challenge. But and and a lot of times, you know, that helps the day go by faster
Mm-hmm.
too. And I try to keep the morale going, and you know, just keep it light. um, but yeah, in businesses, uh, there's gonna be challenges across the board. And maintaining my equipment this season a lot more, keeping up with everything, keeping up with oil changes, keeping up with blade sharpenings, keeping up with when I need to do things, and kind of staying ahead of things has helped me out this season. And following a schedule, I guess. Being able to use, I use a scheduling software called Yardbook,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been able to help me stay on schedule, and it's been helping me to be able to, if I miss a day because of rain or something, I can reschedule it and get back on. Um, and it works great for me, and my business helps me um, just, you know, stay and do what I told my customers I was going to do, you know, on the day that I said I was going to
Mm-hmm.
do it. And if I can't do it on that day, I always try to call them and let them know, um, I can't come today because of whatever reason. I'll be there this day, and so my customers always know when I'm
Mm-hmm.
coming. So,
You bring
yeah,
up a really good point. The good help is hard to find. We experience that too in
yeah,
our industry. I think in general
yeah,
we have a situation in this day and age where I don't know, like work is considered differently in this society than it was
mhm,
maybe 20,
yeah,
30 years ago. 20, 30 years ago,
yeah,
it would be normal. Like my dad would tell me stories. I've heard stories from other people too that work is work. You go to bring
mm,
money for the family to put food on the table. That's just how it is. You don't have to
yeah,
like it. You don't have to love it. Just go because that's what you do.
right,
That's what you do in society. But today we
right,
have people who are, and this is actually a good thing, people who are seeking to find fulfillment in their career. They're spending 40 hours
yeah,
plus a week of their life in some job. They should ideally like what they're doing so they can give it their heart and their soul to it.
right,
Um,
right,
we try to do incentives too, like when it comes to motivating the employees. Even at entry level there are ways to do it and still kind of
mm,
improve their performance. You mentioned it, you give them $5 extra or a free lunch. If I was working in that position, I would kind of understand, like if you charge
mm,
X amount for a lawn and you're charging that amount, you still have to pay for your equipment. Maybe it's rent to, you're paying financing on it. You got a vehicle,
yeah,
you got gas, you got all these other expenses, business insurance, all these insurance.
mm,
So if I'm asking for more than what you're able to pay, it's like it's really hard on you as a business because like there's a certain price point that you have to stay within, and you're only working with X amount
right,
of margins. So how do
right,
you kind of balance that? And you say maybe throwing in a free lunch if they work faster. That there's
mm,
two things that going on there. One, you're getting the job done faster, so you can essentially squeeze in one or two more jobs that day, which means the
yeah,
net result of revenue that you brought in is going to be higher. So
right,
the person who's cutting has the incentive of getting a free lunch. They don't have to spend $5, $10 on a lunch that day. So like
mhm,
that's what I consider as a win-win. And it's
yeah,
so
oh yeah,
important being in the leadership of any type of like payroll and stuff and somebody that employs somebody, it's really important to give them a sort of incentive to make sure that it's fulfilling, motivating, and they can find that it's challenging enough to where they appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, but you bring up a good point.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing that I look at, because like if you're already not happy, because it's gonna, like in the summer months and some of the spring months, it's gonna already be hot. It's gonna be miserable, and you got to do something to keep the guys that's helping you out interested, or make them want to come to work, and make them want to work, and make it worth their while, I guess. So yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned a little bit earlier you have a specific demographic or a specific archetype that your customer looks like. So you kind of look at their yard and be like, I want to have that customer, right? So do your customers typically do you focus on trying to get in the same neighborhoods, or do you kind of branch out into different areas of the city, or how do you
So right now we have what you call route density. And basically what that means is you want to get as much as you can in one neighborhood. I currently have a neighborhood where I'm in a cul-de-sac, and I have 8 properties in that cul-de-sac. But in that neighborhood, I probably mow about 12 yards in that neighborhood, in which I'm planning on even next year growing inside of that. And I got a couple of neighborhoods like that where I cut multiple properties. And what that does for me is it gives me more time on the mower instead of then driving in my truck. Essentially, I'm not wasting as much gas because I'm going to one neighborhood, tackling multiple properties, and having more time to work and bringing in a good amount of money from that neighborhood. And then, at a certain time, I can go home. So, I call that a very good situation when you can get a neighborhood where you can get multiple properties in it. And most of the neighborhoods I go in, I have multiple properties. There's a few that I have like 1, maybe 2 in, but for the most part, in my neighborhoods, I have at least 5 properties. So, yeah.
From an efficiency standpoint, that's extremely efficient, being able to tackle the neighbors after neighbor after neighbor. So that's where we're coming back to marketing and getting your name out there, so the neighbors can look and be like, oh, okay, that's King's Courtyard. Let me give them a call, or let me take a picture so I can give them a call later. Works out in your favor. Works out in their favor. They got to see your service, so it kind of all ties together in a comprehensive way of looking at it through the image perspective.
Yeah. Another thing about that, when I'm learning this from some of the other guys that's helped me out, they say that they put a door hanger on the neighbor's door that they're cutting. And so if you put it, and they say they do it like every time they go. So they put it like 4 or 5 houses down, every house, gets a door hanger. And repetition is the key to clarity. So the more you do it, the more they're thinking, okay, I got somebody cutting my yard already. Why does this guy keep putting the door hanger on my door? And then eventually, something might happen to the guy. He might retire. He might quit, lawn care, or, something might happen to him. And then now you no longer have a guy. But guess what? That one guy's been putting a door hanger on your door, and you got like 20 of them somewhere. So now they're like, okay, I need a new guy, Or in my case, for some reason, a lot of the customers that I picked up this year, their lawn guy just disappeared, and I don't know where or why or anything like that. I mean, I do know a pandemic was out there this year, so I don't know. Maybe that was one of the things, but I picked up a lot of customers because their lawn guy just stopped showing up in the middle of the season. So I was able to kind of capitalize being at the right place at the right time. So yeah, it was kind of fortunate of me, I guess. Unfortunate, but fortunate.
Yeah, interesting situation. There's a saying, I don't know how true it is for every single industry, but on average, is about 7 touch points to kind of close a customer. So they need to be touched on 7 different avenues, or maybe even the same one, but that repetition, like you mentioned, 7 times, that's a lot. That's a really large amount. And for our business, when we sell yard signs, the yard sign, maybe the average order is $250. it's not a small ticket item. It's 250. So they need that extra confidence. People need to know: are we a legitimate company? Is UZ Marketing a legitimate company? Is my order gonna be safe with them if I give them that much money? So
Yeah.
the way we kind of approach that situation is we have remarketing, which is Google and Facebook offers a type of advertisement where if a user lands on your site, the site kind of keeps that information stored, and it shows an advertisement to that same user in a different location somewhere else on the web, because it has that stored information that this person has visited UZ Marketing at one point. So let's give them an image 3 days later. Hey, you still interested in yard signs? Still interested in business cards,
Yeah.
door hangers, or something like that? So different avenues and different touch points, kind of like all goes to having a comprehensive form of marketing that looks at it in a holistic perspective.
Right. Right.
So aside from that, do you have anything you'd like to share about your business, or like any interesting things, something you may have for the viewers out there?
Like what?
Anything. Tell me a recent story. Tell them a recent story from something interesting for the Kings Courtyard.
Don't know.
Okay, no worries. So aside from that, that's all for me. I know we covered a lot. Appreciate you so much
Yeah.
for being able to get on this call.
problem.
Appreciate you being the first person to help me set up this video series. I'm hoping
Yeah.
that this is going to be a good video series for other people. Luckily enough, there is another person in landscaping that I also get to interview. So I think from the perspective of sharing this video to other landscaping companies, there's going to be a lot of value that people can get from this conversation. So thank you again, and I know that people will appreciate you sharing your experience and your like wisdom, basically, because you've been doing this for such a long time. So
Yeah. What platforms will
this will be on YouTube.
Okay. Cool.